Hello again, welcome back to another little Amiga project I've got going. So I've got 3 Amiga power supplies, 2 of which I don't really trust, and the third, well, it's working at the moment, but I was thinking about maybe trying to restore the old one. Then I realised it has loads of components and I don't really know what I'm doing, and so I had a look, and a lot of people have used Mean Well power supplies. Now the ones other people have been using seem to be a bit more expensive and come in a metal cage, but since I want to reuse the casing on here anyway, this is a cheaper and I think better solution. It's quite a bit smaller, so it fits in really easily, and should have the same power output and stuff with the +5, +12 and -12 that we need. Total power output's about 50, so this little thing is about double of this thing. So I've desoldered the input and output wires from the old board, and what I need to now do is figure out how to manually crimp and arrange these other wires. So let's see how this goes. Now if this all looks like it works out, I'll list the components that I had to buy. So I've got enough stuff to do 2 power supplies, and it cost me about £50, so that seems quite reasonable to me, and I'll get a nice stock looking power brick. Now the electrical connection just isn't tight enough, so it's definitely going to need a little bit of solder, but that's come out a lot neater than I thought it would, to be honest, doing it with pliers that are about 400 times bigger than the actual connector. Ah, well, very nice. Let's get these others in and then get them soldered. A little bit fiddly, but not too bad, assuming it's going to go together. So I'll give them a dab of solder to make sure the electrical contact is firm. Just trying to tell how well it's wicked down. I think it's okay, but maybe I'll try a little bit more at this end. Don't want to completely melt all the insulation with my bad soldering, but I guess this is not a bad thing to practice on compared to delicate electrical components. Cool, right, so I just need to check which way round I'm going. So I think it is actually written on here, down, I don't think you're going to be able to see that. Can I see it? Yes, ACL, this end, live, ACN neutral, that end. My clip goes this way round, so we'll double check again. So it's live on this end. Live is brown, which makes sense because it's on the switch. Clip goes at the back. How hot is this? Yes, I can touch. Good. Have I ruined the clip with soldering? No. Neutral 1, ACN. Measure 400 times, cut once, hopefully. Yeah, I might have overdone this one. Oh, there we go, it did go in though. So as long as I haven't messed that up, then that's done. And it should clip in. Oh, now it hasn't got a lot of support because I'm actually I only have this one screw in the corner, which might be a mistake. Where did earth actually go on here? What was earth for? Yeah, live neutral. live neutral, and the other one, you can see the other one I unsoldered was there. F, well, is it just for this giant heatsink? Is that the only thing that the earth was actually used for? I guess with everything in a plastic case, maybe the computer itself doesn't have an earth. I'll have to figure out the wiring. Okay, now this wire is going to be a lot more complicated. I'm going to have to trace the pins through from the other end so that I know for sure which pin corresponds to which of these wires. Good morning, let's get back to this. I need to check the continuity of some of these wires. So let's actually see what the shield is attached to. Because it must be, surely it's attached to something. Okay, yeah, so shield is attached to long black. Make sure I write everything down. Shield. Okay, so the pins. This would be fun. Oh, actually, I'm going to be able to... Okay, so I think long black's going to have more than one. I should be able to... Oh, I was hoping this would pop in. Come on. Oh, it does. That's easy. Right. So long black. What are you attached to? So that was that sort of bottom left. Let's check none of the other wires. Nope. So that bottom left away from the bump, that is ground. Makes sense. Yep, okay, red is bottom right, so that is +5. Yep, top left +12. Okay, middle is -12 for white. And so short black is almost certainly going to be signal ground. I'm just working from the bottom of another power supply which has the pin out for the diagram. So far all the Amiga power supplies I've seen have that little pin out there, which is super helpful when you're trying to test. Right, so short black, signal ground should be this pin, and yep, looks like it. Let's check if it's cool. So that is signal ground. That was relatively painless. Cool, so now I just need to figure out what the pin out of the other power supply is, which is slightly mysterious, so let's come over to that. So here we have the finished product. So having checked the manual now, here we can see all the pins in the right order. You won't be able to rely on the colours because I believe they differ from Amiga to Amiga, but the positions, once you've tested the continuity from those pins, the positions on the power supply are tested and they're correct. Found the ground points in the manual as well, so having checked the original power supply as well and how that was wired up, the shield ground was connected to earth. These two earths have to be connected together, so this is all soldered onto the bottom because these holes are kind of intended to push down on a metal mount that will connect them, So because we don't have a metal mount, I've connected the two ends of the earths together because I've checked the continuity and they're not connected in the board. So I've connected all the earths together and connected it through to the mains earth and checked all that continuity all the way from the shield back, and that's all solid. So I've tested it with an A500. Well, the first thing I did was used some crocodile clips to attach a little 12-volt car bulb, the kind you have or used to have in like the dome light in your car. So I've used that to power up the plus 12 and the plus 5 and stuff with some load on, and also used the multimeter to read out the voltages, and they all looked okay. So then I plugged it into the A500 and light came on. I didn't have it plugged into the TV just in case. But the power light came on, and when I put a disc in, you got some disc activity and you could hear it loading, so it all appears to operate properly. So I've put it in, I've given it a bit more support now at this end. So I found a piece of laminate that I had lying around and sawed it off and put it between, so it's got two mounting points at this end on the board, and then it's got that little plastic stanchion underneath that stops it going down too far on this end. It doesn't weigh a massive amount, and I'm not planning to hurl the thing around, so I think the fact that it's got a little bit of movement's probably fine. You'd really have to whack it for it to get enough force to be a problem. So let's put it back together. Make sure we don't pinch any of the wires. And we can clip the switch in afterwards. So we'll just hold everything together with the two halves. There we go. It's so light now. I mean, this was the lightest power supply I had by far anyway. But the technology in the power supply seems to have moved on a lot. And I checked my other Amiga power supply, and I think on is supposed to be up. So that's the way around I've put the switch in. I think it's looking good. Time to give it a test. Okay, moment of truth. Connected to the TV. What happens when we actually turn it on? Nothing. Have I turned it on at the mains? Okay, once I've turned it on at the mains, what happens? Lights. I mean, that looks like an operational Amiga. An operational Amiga with a slightly dodgy floppy drive. Okay, some fiddling later. I'd call that a working Amiga.